Everybody, it's Sunday. The market is about to open in the next hour. So I want to do a quick recap, a quick, recap of what to expect and things like that. See what's gonna happen next. I know I kind of went over this on Friday, but I want to just break it down one more time, go more in depth. We're looking at Nasdaq on the weekly here, and we see that around 20,800. That was the previous all-time high, correct? Right, 20,800, and we did get a nice bullish break above that. Back in November, we got a couple retests here. Price flew, and we had a retest last week with FOMC interest rates. The market dropped dramatically, right? It dropped dramatically, and we even swept some of these lows here, right? We swept this liquidity at these low levels, and then that was enough to take price to the next level. I see we had an imbalance here as well, right? Price broke through this imbalance, swept all this imbalance, took all this liquidity and this here. So that's how we see price still closing relatively well back above 21,250, which is the new previous all-time highs, which we got a bullish break above. And this candle from last week does count as the retest. Looking at the weekly structure here, we do have like a higher high, higher low. We got the higher high here, higher low, higher high. That was a higher low. And what can we expect if this is a continuation of the uptrend? We can expect another higher high based off the weekly structure. Going down to the daily, we see it more clear as well, right? This massive drop. We came all the way back down again, 20,800, which is the all-time highs from back in July. And again, we did break above. And how did we break above? We had liquidity being built up. We swept the lows, broke above these highs. Price came right back down for the retest of this setup and then flew off. Okay, came back again. There was another setup in here as well, and then price is projected to do its thing. We all know when we do enter the markets, we look for this, right? We look for some type of liquidity, build up, sweep, break above. Once it breaks above, you want to go ahead and get your Fibonacci from the low to the high, and then allow price to work its way down. Get in at the retest of the highs, which sometimes isn't at the 50, right? But that is something to look at as well. If you want to discount price, sometimes it respects the top, the break and retest, and it continues. Sometimes it comes a little bit lower. It's up to you how you want to do it. But anywhere from the break of the highs to the lows counts as an entry. So when price does come back down, you can take that trade. Or if you're kind of skeptical, wait for another setup to appear within the setup. Wait for it to happen again and then take that. And then that will give you a smaller stop loss at this low instead of this low here, just in case you're a scalper or you're not really trying to swing the trade. You just want to get a quick in and then out, maybe at the highs here. Boom. But that's what we look for. That's what's happening here on NAS. And then if you go to the 4-hour, we did get more confirmation. All right, we did get a 4-hour confirmation that price wants to go higher. Keep in mind, we did have these potential areas that price could reject. We do have liquidity built up here with the high point and a low point right there. So price made the high, it made the low, and then another high, either here or here, right? High point, low point, and then we had the final high, right? The final high before we broke beneath these lows and these lows, right? Temporarily shifting structure to the downside, but still remaining bullish overall, right? And then price gives us this low point right in there, and then another high point, a lower high, and then we make a lower low. And instead of making a lower high to continue this alleged downtrend, we change character or break structure to the upside by breaking above these highs, letting us know that we have now shifted from this temporary downtrend after breaking beneath these lows to now going back to the upside by breaking above these highs here. And now what we do, same thing we just did, you want to get the Fibonacci and go from the low to the high, extend it out, and then you want to wait for price to either come to the 50% for the discount area, or technically anything from these highs that were broken all the way to the lows counts as a valid entry point. Again, price does not have to come to the 50%. That's just there for, visual representation, and maybe you want a very nice discount. But again, don't get too caught up in that because price is not obligated to even come down there, but it is good to have. But what we're waiting for now is going down to the smaller time frames and seeing if we can catch price and giving us another confirmation inside anywhere in here, letting us know that price wants to continue higher. So we will be waiting for that. As we see here, let's go down even smaller time frames. We had several confirmations, several breaks of structure to the upside. Right, this is the same 4-hour structure that I just went over. Now we are on the 5-minute, just looking at it more closely. But as we see here, we had several confirmations that price wanted to go to the upside. It all started with this, right? We had the liquidity. All this is liquidity from this low here to this high. So I'm just gonna put it here to match up with the low, and then here, right? And then we do break with this low here beneath these lows, and then we do finally break above these highs here. So as price works its way down, wouldn't mind taking something, but as we see when we look closer, we had a break of structure here. This was the first structure break to the upside, or the change of character right here. This was the first indication. The first indication, right? We're making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, and lower highs over and over, lower low. But instead of making a lower high, we break above the highs. We're shifting structure to the upside. We get that retest, and then price flies. And this is a prime example of how price does not have to come back down to the 50%. Because if you would have drew your Fibonacci from the low to the high, we didn't even come back down to the 50%. Right, there's even some imbalance left over here. But again, just because that happened, like just because we have this Fibonacci drawn out doesn't mean price has to respect it, but it's good to see. It's good to have overall. So price broke above here first, and if that wasn't enough confirmation, maybe you wanted to wait. You had another one up here, price broke above these highs, gave you multiple retests of this area, and then continued. If this break of structure to the upside wasn't enough to give you the bullish confirmation, we finally broke above these highs, right? So we had 3 separate confirmations to enter the trade. So we didn't get a retest here though, right? We did. We broke above right here, and then we got this deep pullback, and then we finally broke above again, but we didn't get another retest, which we don't have to either. Something to look at. So, and then this was the last and final one. So you had several confirmations. So as price navigates here, when the market opens here soon, we'll be looking to see what happens. Very, very curious. But this is what we're looking at right now. This is the main structure that we're looking at. We're still overall bullish, so I'll be paying close attention to what's happening right here. So stay tuned. Check us out in the chat. Join the Discord. Join the mentorship. We're going to go deep into this week. I know it's Christmas as well, so we'll see what happens, and super excited.